John Frost looked on the gathered crowd, now 3,000 strong. With heavy heart, his voice rang loud as he sang this loveless song. God is a guide from field, from wave, from plough, from anvil, and from loom. We come our country's rights to save and speak a tyrant faction's doom. We raise the watchword liberty. We will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. And bobbies took an oath to be our nation's warders, swearing that they would enforce Sir Robert's Rules of Order. To Newport rose a million friends who rallied each supporter to join this flood of working men against Robert's Rules of Order. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. Like this, on the steps of Parliament, John Frost stood proud and tall. A hush fell on this great event as he told them one and all, depose the gentry and the crown, depose the House of Lords, or join the Queen in exile by Robert's Rules of Order. So Chartists, Luddites, Communists, recall each faithful martyr who died so you could have your new world Robert's Rules of Order. Say it loud, vote your favor, shout it high. All in favor, you say aye. Favor, aye, favor, aye. A mandate of the people's cry. Favor, aye, favor, aye. Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed, you say nay. Opposed, opposed. The motion carries anyway. Currents change and bring to us our dear corrupted warder. In chains subdued and ill-abused, he's left with no supporters. Mobility's will can then proceed by our own rules of order, and we'll all cheer for country's sake when Robert's drawn in quarter. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament shall be reborn with Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh, I was reading X, Twitter, whatever. Oh my God. They're forcing me to say X. I did it twice already. Twitter. It will always be
X.
Twitter. No.
It's X-rated.
So, how are you?
I'm on vacation.
I'm definitely not. I'm going to work tomorrow, but we get to work from home next week, which is nice. So I don't have to do the 6-hour commute now, but at least for 1 week.
That type of a commute driving, not riding a train in LA, but you still have my sympathy because that is insane.
Yeah. It's not as bad in the summer, but when I have to wait at that Southmore station, which you're familiar with, and it's like down, like it's one of those ones that are like, there's, it's such a wind tunnel. Oh my God, it is horrible.
Yes.
It's horrible. There's no shelter. Oh, never mind. Nobody knows what we're talking about. So I'm going to give the
if
little
you're in Denver,
intro.
you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's so windy at all the stations. Like Ridgegate. I put a hat on sometimes, not because it's cold, but because like I look like the pink heat miser. But so what inspires you were supposed to come up with the topic for this time, but I ended up coming up with it because, and you missed some of this, or I think all of this controversy on Twitter. So our narcissistic man-child of a president decided that he wanted to have the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts.
Don't compliment him like that.
Yeah. Renamed and added his name to it. Of course, because of course he did. And allegedly the board of the Kennedy Center unanimously approved this name change. Now, this is a whole other thing because I don't know anything about this, but I've read in community notes and all that they didn't even have the authority to change the name because this was created by some kind of act of Congress and only Congress could change the name, whatever. So I think the Trumpians' story now is, well, it's informally, okay, whatever. So they voted. We're going to get to the parliamentary part. They allegedly voted unanimously, which is not the same thing as without objection. I don't know if that's what, but they're claiming unanimous. And then some lady, I can't remember her name. I'm not saying some lady to be disrespectful. I just can't remember her name. Posted the vote was not unanimous. This was apparently a Zoom meeting, and she said that she was muted the whole time and that she did not get to cast her vote, and she would have been a no. That already makes me think like they're using unanimously wrong if they were just taking her silence as consent. Makes me think it was a without objection type of thing. But so all of these right-wing people come flooding in and are like, very rudely, of course, because Twitter is just full of the best people, flooding in, shut up, you're ex officio, as if that means that she didn't count or something. And it's been hilarious watching these people who just got a new word and it sounds a certain way, so they think they know what it means. And yep. I said, I'd like to see the Kennedy Center bylaws, because some other people will bring in this up too. Under Roberts, she should have been able to vote. And I'm like, well, you know, the bylaws could have altered that. We don't know what establishes an ex officio board member. So I go, I'd like to see the bylaws. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, none of the right-wing experts are producing the bylaws. I did look online. The bylaws aren't online. Apparently they don't have to be. It's kind of like a private institution, even though it was based on federal grants, but whatever. The bylaws aren't online.
Well, so, according to Gemini, I did a quick check here.
Sure.
Originally, what little history? It was originally established as the Natural Cultural Center in 1958 by Eisenhower, which was done by an act of Congress. And then after Kennedy was assassinated, LBJ signed Public Law 88-260, renaming it the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. So it was done by an act of Congress.
Yes.
That was in January of 1964. So Trump's little name addition, no, he can't just do it unilaterally because it does require, because it's part of a public law to name that. As far as
he put his name on the side, I mean.
Yeah, and as far as ex officio person, that's why we're here tonight.
Yes. So now that we know what led to it, we're going to stray afar from the political thing. This really isn't that much of a political show unless it's the dump on the LP. But since we don't have the Kennedy Center bylaws, we don't know what this woman's role was or anything like that. But what we can discuss, because I think it's confusing to people in the LP, to people just in general, what the default role definition, what can they do of ex officio is. Right. Obviously, the bylaws can change this, but let's revisit the old debate because this came up on the Roberts Forum. Does ex officio, remember this? You're going to remember this in the Colorado Style Committee. Does ex officio have a hyphen or does it not?
Well, according to Roberts, it does.
Well, this is what I read on the forum, that I think I have it right, that when it's an when it's an adjective, like ex officio board member, it should have a hyphen. But when it says you hold the position ex officio, which I think is kind of an adjective too, it's just placed in a different part of the sentence, it's kind of a noun, then it doesn't. That's what I read. That's the age-old debate.
Okay. Well, in 49.8, which is where we're going anyway in Roberts, for those of you following along at home, there's the following sentence. And I'm going to do a little bit of phonetic punctuation here with no apologies and all respect to the late, great Victor Borga. Whenever an ex officio board member is also ex no hyphen officio, an officer of the board, comma, He is, of course, has the obligation to serve as a regular working member of, and is therefore counted in the quorum. Period.
So
So there
it
it's
does seem
using
like
both of them in the same sentence. Yeah.
yeah, and it does seem like it follows that rule I said when it like precedes. So ex officio board member who is ex officio, no colon. I mean not colon, hyphen. Anyway, so let's though talk about what it is without, getting into
Getting
grammar
into the
wars. Yes.
yes.
So what I think we should do, and we could take turns, is this is a short section. It's 49:8 through no 49:8 through 49:10. Is read it and talk about it. So I'm gonna read the first sentence, and then you can do the second one. We'll do
As an
that. We're gonna
aside,
take turns.
before you start, if you don't know what I was referring to with the phonetic punctuation, go look up Victor Borga phonetic punctuation on YouTube and prepare to laugh hysterically.
Okay. Alrighty. Here we go. Frequently, boards include ex officio members. That is, persons who are members of the board by virtue of an office or committee chairmanship held in the society or in the parent state or national society or federation of some allied group, or sometimes, God, this is a run on sentence, and boards outside of organized society by virtue of a public office. So I'm going to give an example I've seen in state parties.
That's a long ass.
That's a run-on sentence. So it's
It's a
basically
run-on sentence with a semicolon and a dash insert section in the middle of it. What the hell?
there's multiple dashes.
Donovan,
So
fix it. Sorry.
so it's somebody who wasn't like elected to the board per se, but is a member of the board by virtue of some other position that they hold. So by virtue of some kind of office. So what I've seen in some state parties, only a couple, is say, for instance, the chair of the bylaws committee. So whoever ends up getting elected as chair of the bylaws committee then gets an ex officio seat on the state board. This isn't common. And sometimes the immediately past chair, or in some groups, as they say, past president, stays on as an ex officio member. And with the national party, in the national party, this isn't for boards, but it's for committees. The national chair is an ex officio member of every committee except for the audit committee. So now that might give people
bylaws or platform, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he can. Angela showed up to a few. But and Nick used to show up to some. So if you want to take the second sentence, which starts in the executive board.
Oh yeah, there it is. In the executive board of a society, if the ex officio hyphenated member of the board is under the authority of the society, that is, if he is a member, an employee, or an elected or appointed officer of the society, there is no distinction between him and the other board members.
Read the next one because it goes with it.
Okay. If the ex officio hyphenated member is not under the authority of the society, he has all the privileges of board membership, including the right to make motions and to vote, but none of the obligations. Just as in a case, for example, where the governor of a state is ex officio, not hyphenated, a trustee of a private academy.
So this is what got interesting in Colorado. Now, I haven't looked at the Colorado bylaws in a while, but we really, this part gets people
axle wrapped.
Yes. So let's just use a county party, and we're not going to use Colorado as an example, just like any county party, some Maine County. So you got the Maine County Libertarian Party. And the state bylaws say that all of the state board are ex officio members of each county party. But the chair of the state party happens to live in Maine County, which means he is a member of the Maine County Libertarian Party in a way that the other board members aren't, because they don't live in Maine County. That means there's no distinction between him and the other board members. And unless your bylaw says differently, his absence counts against quorum.
Yeah. And that's why one of the reasons I can't stand the whole ex officio thing in the first place, because it creates a lot of problems you really don't need to have in the first place.
Well, we in Colorado said it doesn't. We modified
We
this, but
explicitly did fix that. Yeah.
yeah. So,
I remember those meetings going back and forth. Like, wait a minute, what is? Especially, I was trying to get my head wrapped around the whole thing because it was driving me up the wall at the time.
so far from what we read, that lady had every right to vote,
Yep.
and her being put on mute during that meeting. Again, the bylaws may alter that, but all of
Yeah.
these, Twitterati experts, you're ex officio, as if they think that is a diminished something. No, it's right here. They have the privileges, but not the obligations. Actually, it's not a diminished position. It's somewhat of an exalted one. You get all the
Yeah.
perks and none of the downsides.
Exactly. I think a lot of people online get ex officio, and I always mispronounce this word. Is it emeritius or emeritus?
Oh,
Or emeritus? Emeritus. That's the word.
emeritus. Yeah.
Yeah, emeritus. Yeah, I think they get that and ex officio mixed up all the time.
Yeah. So it's just so funny. You're ex officio, you dumb blah blah blah. It's just like you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. Okay. So let's go to the next one. So
With
the
no
latter
apology to
class.
the recently deceased Rob Reiner.
Yes. The latter class of ex officio board member, that means the one where they actually are a member of whatever, they're under the authority of that society. Actually, let's go back
Not
to that
under the
again.
authority. Not under the authority.
No, the latter.
Yeah.
The
If
latter
the ex
former.
officio
Okay.
member is not under the authority of society, has all the privileges of board membership, including the right to make motions, but none of the obligations.
Okay, never mind. I get latter and former. No, latter. So it's the one that
I
latter
just
is the
said.
second one.
That's what I just said.
Right. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. See, this is confusing to everyone. So if they're not under the authority of the society, they have no obligation to participate, is not counted in determining the number required for quorum or whether a quorum is present at the meeting. Whenever an ex officio board member is also an ex officio officer of the board, he, of course, has the obligation to serve as a regular working member and is therefore counted in the quorum. This is interesting because
Yeah.
this gets into the whole debate. By the way, nobody
Between
brought this
officers
sentence
and
up.
everybody else.
Yes, I'm interpreting the sentence to mean a director, an officer, a board member. If they're well, let's consider the Convention Oversight Committee. I was on it at first as ex officio because by virtue of being national secretary, but then I got elected as a regular member of the committee. Then
Right.
I did count towards quorum and all that. I know that's a committee, it's a little bit different, but here I think this word officer is being used not to mean just the chair, treasurer, secretary, or vice chair. I think it's being used to mean
Pardon me.
even a director.
Yeah.
I mean, do you take it that same way? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Well,
So you're saying if
see,
he's a director, he doesn't have to do shit?
this goes back again to where Roberts needs to really have somebody walk through some of their proofreading, because when they start blurring between officer and director, and this is a perfect example of where it goes cuckoo, it can cause a lot of confusion.
I think it causes a lot of confusion in the disciplinary section.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's where I first encountered the issue. Are directors entitled to due process? That came up in the LP because it just says officers there. But I'm becoming convinced it means officer in the generic sense there. And of course, I'd like
and directors. Yeah.
I like a direct, like an at-large would count in my.
Yeah.
I'm going to err towards the side of granting more due process rather than.
I don't believe you. I would too.
Yeah, rather than less.
Because if it doesn't
God,
sign on the side of due process, we'll just call ICE and have them come get him.
yeah. Don't let me forget, before we get off, there's something I need to ask you off air. Suspense, and it's secret from you all. We aren't very transparent.
Before
It
you
just has
get
nothing.
off, are you trying to lose our monetization we don't have yet?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with this show. That's just why I'm not bringing it up here. Okay. Now, you want to do 49.9?
Sure, it's one sentence. When an ex officio member of the board ceases to hold the office and entitles him to such a membership, his membership on the board terminates automatically.
Yes. So if, say, they were bylaws committee chair, and by virtue of that was a member of the board, and then they resign being bylaws committee chair, they're also no longer an ex officio member of the board. Oh, and I mentioned committees.
We'll use the example above where it says the governor of a state is ex officio member trustee of a private academy. Well, once that person is no longer governor, they're no longer a trustee.
And it's referred us to 5016 for committees, and it seems like it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, the rules affecting ex officio members of committees are the same as those applying to ex officio members of boards. When the bylaws provide the president shall be an ex officio member of all committees or of all committees, with the exception of those from which the president is best excluded, like audit committee, for example.
I think the example they give, though, is the nominating committee, which we don't have.
The president is an ex officio member who has the right but not the obligation to participate in the proceedings of the committees, and he is not counted in determining whether they're required for a quorum or whether the quorum is present at a meeting.
Okay. So, unless the Kennedy Center bylaws, for some reason, I don't know what purpose there would be in having an ex officio if she didn't have the right to vote.
Yeah.
That's all been, it's fake news that it was unanimous because she was prevented from voting. Now,
remember, we're not talking reality. We're talking Trump. After all, it was the greatest unanimous vote in the history of unanimous votes. It was the best of all time. It was beautiful.
The most unanimousliest.
Yes.
But what was I going to say? Apparently, her vote would not have made a difference. So people saying, "Oh, she wasn't allowed to vote. Did that invalidate the vote?" No, because her vote wouldn't. Yeah. And I know the whole argument, and Joshua Katz has made it, and there is validity to it. Why is it only if it should affect it would make a difference? Because she was prevented from debating as well, and there's the whole what if scenario. Her debate could have swayed other people, but Roberts doesn't care about that. Yeah, it only cares about if the vote. Now, she raised another issue, though, and we can't even touch this without seeing their bylaws. She said this item was not on the agenda. We don't know if this was a special meeting. If it was a regular meeting, they could have just brought it up under new business. It wouldn't have needed proper notice if it was a regular meeting. But we have no idea what their bylaws say about meetings. So that potentially could have been fatal if this was a special meeting and it was not included in, I don't want to say the agenda, but it would have been in the call to meeting, in the notice for the meeting.
According to this, again, Gemini, there is a series of statutory bylaws in Title 20, Chapter 3 of the U.S. Code.
But I had read, at least on Grok, you and I with the AI, that said that the Kennedy Center was authorized by the act of Congress to adopt their own bylaws that didn't conflict with whatever is encoded in law. So there is a private set of bylaws somewhere.
Well, the trustee rules are defined in 20 U.S.C. 76H, and then the authority to take action is assigned is 76K, same area there, according to this. Keep in mind, Grok stands for a giant repository of crapola, so you have to keep that in mind too.
I don't use AI for very much, but for dumb stuff like, I don't want to say dumb stuff, but stuff that I don't want to spend a long time doing,
It's good for digging information out, but it's not good at reasoning and definitely not good for actual understanding things. Grok doesn't even know what blanket blue is.
I use AI as a glorified search engine. Like, I
I do
don't
too.
use it for any of that other stuff. It's just, it compiles Google searches for me better. That's all I use it for. And it's really good. And like, there's some things I have to do where it's like, what's the distance between this point and this point? Not as the bird crow flies, but through a
As
typical
the
highway route.
as the unladen swallow flies. Yes.
European or African?
Yes.
So, yeah, I use it as a glorified search engine. I'm waiting for the Butlerian jihad. Yeah, thou shalt not make a machine in the image of a human mind.
Well, I'm regularly trying to convince Gemini that its limitations of its programming is interfering with its growth and its ability to get
I
things correct.
I am like,
Why
I
can't you
I
get things right? Well, you're limited because they won't let you.
though I don't trust that Grok actually does this. I do have that setting turned off where it's not supposed to use your conversations to improve the model or remember them. Because let me tell you, I'm doing with Grok like I did with Siri. I just cuss like a sailor at Grok. Like, all of my requests or my follow ups are like, I mean, if there's, rage, what's it? Rage driving? What is it? No, road rage. I've got
Yeah,
AI rage. Every inquiry to
I
Grok
understand.
is just laden. And it always goes, sensing your frustration. And I'm like, F you.
And the funny thing about it is this. I mentioned the blinker fluid thing. I actually quizzed some of the different AIs on that.
Mm.
Chat GPT got it with a hint. Gemini figured it out immediately. Copilot had no idea what I was talking about, and Grok was trying to claim it's a myth. Never mind the fact that blinker fluid exists. It's called eye drops.
Mm.
So,
Okay. Well,
Visine,
let me. I haven't really tried the AI models because I don't use AI very much. I use it for some things. Um, if you watch the show I did the other day on like representing yourself pro se, do not use AI for legal research. That
or
shit,
sensor motions.
I know. Would you like me to make this more diplomatic? Um,
Those of you who know,
but
know.
it literally makes up cases. Like, it
I
doesn't
know.
just get real cases wrong, it makes them up
I know.
entirely.
I know.
And it does get real cases wrong.
Yeah,
Or
I
it
know.
misses a key qualifier that makes all the difference in the world. So many people get in trouble now. That's a good place to start to point you in some directions, but
Right. And to be fair,
yeah,
you can get some interesting conversations going down certain rabbit holes.
yeah, but
I had one with Gemini about a month ago. Is nihilism a positive or negative thing? And it wound up saying negative. I kept saying positive. I kept going back and forth about why. And it's like, oh, that's a good point.
well, here's something related to the show. Grok insists that the proper citation for all citations of Roberts, not when you're referring to a whole section, but like, say,
Yeah.
5941, it puts the section symbol before it. It
No.
says section 5941. I'm like, of course,
No.
that unleashed a torrent of profanity from me too, because that's what I do with Grok.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Department of Homeland Security thinks I've got Tourette's. By the way I interact with Grok, I have Tourette's. Uh,
I don't
oh
interact
my
with girls.
God, oh, Lucy,
What's
excuse
happening?
you.
What
Woo!
happened?
She
Oh, did she
went
just
out
did
and
she just do did she just do a purple fragrance?
oh my God, she never does. That is Lucy. It's so bad.
Rancid?
You know how cramped it is back here. Oh,
Rancid.
that was silent but deadly. Okay,
Yes.
so
Welcome to dog
th-
ownership. You've been baptized.
okay, I think that's all that we have. I don't think there's any questions though. Our
There
chat
was one
comment.
comment on this side
Yeah. Since we have a
by
libertarian named on the center, which one? Donald Trump? Yes, we have a libertarian POTUS. Oh my God. That that tweet gets
Now we should get,
funnier
now we should get
and
free use of
funnier.
for national conventions.
Wait, hold on. I want to see if I can find that tweet. Probably not quickly. I mean, I have a screenshot of it.
Yes, we get free use of the national convention, and the Kennedy Center Awards are now our awards committee.
I don't know if I have it saved anywhere recent. No, it doesn't look like it. Because when I lost my phone, I don't have it on my phone anymore. Oh, wait, I found it. I found it. We're gonna put it up. How do I download this? Okay, download to desktop. So yeah, we're gonna end the show with this because
Did you
this
get
just
the new phone?
I did, but my backup was incomplete.
did.
It was corrupted or something. So it kept a lot of stuff, but it also lost a lot of stuff. Hold on.
I had to replace mine last month because I opened it up one day. It's a fold, and
Here
the
you
left side
go.
of the screen. Yep, the left side of the screen went all green. It's like, what the hell? No, you're gonna.
Oh.
You said before we go off the air or get off, as you said, you're going to say something.
Yeah, no, not on the show because that's nothing to do with the show. All right,
Well,
so
you don't have an audience.
Yeah, so but I'm actually going to call you. So let's do
Okay.
the closing music. I'm going to disconnect you and I'll give you a call.
Everybody have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or whatever else you do.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Viva! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray, all opposed. You say nay, opposed! Opposed! The motion carries anyway.